Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Y'all make sure you go sub to my man Heavy Bag Boxing, man.
Get your dumb ass in and hit this bag.
The Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Y'all just go ahead and subscribe to Heavy Bag Boxing TV because he be lit on his channel.
And Heavy Bag Boxing.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Yo, shout out to Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV. That's my little bro.
Prince Strength 412 in the building. Shout out to my guy Tszyu, Heavy Bag Boxing TV. Get your bitch ass in here and hit this bag.
Heavy Bag Boxing, all right? You heard it from me. You heard it here first.
Heavy Bags Boxing. Straight out of Norfolk, baby. Let's go.
What's up, y'all? Shout out to Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
You are tuned in to Heavy Bag Boxing. Get your and hit this bag, dude.
Shout out to Heavy Bag Boxing. It's the one and only Blair the Flair. Woo!
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Zach, Super Judas, this-time champion world. I'm giving a big shout out to my home team, Heavy Bag TV. You heard? Keep it live.
This is Showtime Sean Porter. You are watching Heavy Bag Boxing.
What up, YouTube? Big Tszyu, Heavy Bag Boxing TV. Man, if you don't get your big goof ass in here and hit the bag.
Yo, that's crazy work.
Crazy work. My bad. I had my mic mute. It's been a minute. What up? God, it feel good to be here. What up, what up, what up, what up? Of course, I'm going to throw the link in the chat if you want to hang out with your boy. Damn, and then there go my neighbor. I told him to give me a ring, but I am going live. My bad, Mike. My bad. Let me throw this up in the chat just in case you want to join me. Shout out DJ. Having a conversation earlier, man. A few topics we have to discuss, and I definitely wanted to start out with what I thought was crazy news, which was Eddie Hearn losing the purse bid to P2X Promotions, which is the promotional company of none other than Karen Shakajan, the nigga that Boots had to chase around the ring for the better part of 12 rounds, who y'all said Boots looked horrible against. He couldn't cut off the he couldn't cut off the ring. He couldn't get the knockout. And now the IBF is calling for that rematch. And don't nobody want to see that shit. And I got to vent a little bit. I put this in my last video on the subject as well. But y'all let a nigga vent. Again, there's the link if you want to join me. But let a nigga vent. I get that Brian Norman Jr. passed up to 1.7. Stanionis passed up whatever the hell he passed up. I'm not so sure about the Barrio situation, but I'm guessing he might have passed something up too. Eddie Hearn said he sent an offer to all of them, right? And I get it, because I was kind of saying the same thing about Shakur and Devin Haney at the time, but that was for Undisputed. This was simply for a unification bout. And listen, these champions, these other champions, they got their reasons for passing up these offers, right? They got their reasons. When you do the math and you getting that kind of money for the first time, that puts you in a different tax bracket. You got to think about everything that comes along with your state and federal for wherever you live at. It's a lot of things to consider. Plus paying, for your trainer and all of these expenses. And for Brian Norman Jr. and Stanionis, it would have been a matter of, I believe, of crossing the street, especially definitely for a Norman, which would have cost him as well. He would have had to pay Top Rank just for him to actually fight Boots. So when you think about the whole grand scheme of things, right? And then mind you, he's a youngin. He's He's only 23 years old. You know, his father took all of these things in consideration. But let me just say this. I understand for everybody who says he's crazy for turning down 1.7. I understand that shit. Don't get that twisted. Because had he taken this fight, I'd have been like, all right, it makes sense. You know, 1.7, that's hard to turn down for sure. But they did. But that's not my issue. Understand this. It took a lot of contemplating for Boots Ennis to make the decision to go with Eddie Hearn in Matchroom, right? Don't think Eddie Hearn in Matchroom was the only offer Boots had on the table to do deals with. Eddie Hearn, when he was courting Boots, I should say, all right, when he was trying to sign Boots, you can't tell me that Eddie Hearn didn't look Boots in his eye and say, listen, hey, whatever you're trying to do, I'm behind. I will make sure that happens. Eddie promised, more than likely promised this kid that he was going to make all of these fights that Boots wanted to happen. And when Boots signed with Eddie Hearns, he told Eddie straight off the rip, he told all of us, him and his father, they wanted to become undisputed at 147 pounds. Let's keep it all the way funky. Eddie said, hey, I'll make it happen. Now, again, not mad at anybody for saying that Brian Norman is a duck or Stanionis is a duck for not taking the money. It's a lot of money. But understand, it was Eddie Hearn's job to secure these fights. Just like you feel Brian Norman and Stanionis, if they believed in themselves, they should have just took the fight and took the money and took their crack at Boots, right? Just like you feel like that, Eddie Hearn should have had enough. He should have had enough confidence in Boots to invest that money, right? If they ask you for 2.2 million, if you're Eddie Hearn, you do it. Because you know you're going to get that back tenfold in the future with Boots. But for right now, show Boots that you can make the fights or you're willing to invest in him to make the fights. Pay the guys. You mean to tell me you couldn't secure not one other champion? Not one? You going to point the blame at all of them for saying, listen, we're not going to take this kind of money? It's an extremely dangerous fight. I think we probably all agree that Boots is the most dangerous guy just off the eye test in the division. And, oh, by the way, the fight is going to be in his backyard. So even if it is a close fight that maybe the consensus believes Stanionis or Brian Norman Jr. wins, the scorecards are read it for Boots. They'll probably get robbed in his backyard. You got to pay for that shit, bro. If you're Eddie Hearn, by no means necessary, you supposed to have locked down one goddamn unification for Boots Ennis, and now here you are. You have fucking Karen Shuckerjohn winning the purse, and look, he even lost the goddamn purse bid. At least win the purse bid and say, hey, goddamn it, Boots, we'll get you back at the crib 14, 15,000 versus this nigga, man, and we'll figure out what we're going to do. Unless they're going to vacate. More than likely, now that he's lost the purse bid, I think they vacate. That just makes the most sense. Shout out to the chat, man. I promise you, if you got questions in the chat, I promise you I'll try to get to you. All right? Oh, man, we got somebody with a money drop up in here, too. Shout out the Zapata Brand Podcast. Great intel, light views, and comments and commentary. No doubt, man. I appreciate you. I gotta give you my money drop. Money, 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 money. It's just enough. For the city. I'm living. Just enough for the goddamn city. I appreciate you, Zapata Brand Podcast, man. Thank you very much. But absolutely, man. And I appreciate you taking that perspective and looking at it from that perspective, because you got to understand everybody's stuck on the 1.7 or the 1.5. That's all they see. They don't see everything that comes along with that. They don't see that Eddie Hearn isn't willing to invest the 2 million or 2.2 million just to say that Boots got this fight. And listen, if Boots actually, which I really think he does, I think they bypass the Shakajan fight and go to 154. That means Boots will leave 147 pounds having accomplished absolutely nothing. 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 Boots has accomplished at 147 pounds absolutely nothing. And y'all tell me I'm lying. Put it in the chat. If he's accomplished something in 147 pounds, put it in chat. I got a couple of my usual suspects in the building, man. My guy DJ and my guy Punch Drunk 412. Timmy's the best. What up, fellas? Thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. The usual.
Hell yeah, T.O. say it again. That nigga ain't dead. Shit.
Absolutely shit, my brother. Absolutely shit. And I'm glad you guys are here. Definitely want to get your thoughts. Eddie Hearn, to me, has failed to deliver a unification for Boots Ennis. This is somebody we've all let live. We let him live on the eye test. We have pumped Boots up. We have created the train off just the pure eye test. He's still yet to fight anybody. And for the first time, he was going to fight somebody that we were going to actually give him credit for fighting, and Eddie Hearn did not make it happen. Punch Drunk, give me your thoughts.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised, T.O.? They've been coddling and protecting this nigga from the beginning. I've been saying this shit for a long time now. Nigga, Boots is coddled, nigga, and when every time he get a chance to go against a dangerous opponent, they find a way to wiggle the nigga out of it. Is this more? Do I need any more proof than Eddie Hearn intentionally fell in this post bed, bro?
Absolutely not.
Like, come on, man. Like, how much more proof do niggas need to see? Steven Espinosa protected that motherfucker, and now Eddie Hearn is doing the same shit, nigga. The nigga's record is a stat-padded bullshit. No, he ain't really accomplished nothing. And now niggas is finally starting to see it, man. Y'all built this nigga up to the phenom. How are you a phenom? You ain't fighting nobody, nigga. I've been saying this for how long? They call me a hater, though. Because you know, the way I say shit is super aggressive and straightforward. So nigga, Punch is just a hater, nigga. But nigga, facts is facts, bro.
I gotta give you your credit. You've been saying the same thing for a very long time, and I've been a part of the train, man. Because again, he passes the eye test, but now it's to the point you've switched promoters. You jumped in bed with Eddie Hearn. This will be your second fight. And the only reason why, and I'm almost positive the only reason why he signed with Eddie is because Eddie promised him these fights, bro. And he's not delivering. Really, simple as that.
Out of all the big people Eddie didn't sign, like, even with Canelo, how many big fights did he get? Like, I mean, let's keep it real about Eddie. Like, how many big fights do Eddie really make? Like, huge, like, million pay-per-view bass fights do this dude set up? Like, let's be real. Like, you try to do it, but nobody want to do business with you, Eddie. Nobody.
No doubt. No doubt. DJ, you got thoughts on the matter?
Absolutely, I do. Shout out Punch. Shout out Tszyu.
Absolutely, brother.
What up, DJ?
I'm going to lead with this, but just follow me. Public negotiations are bullshit. They actually don't, and we've just seen it, right? They're no good for anyone. They're no good for the promoters. They're no good for the boxers. They're no good for the managers. And more importantly, they're no good for the public. It just pisses them off, right? Now, I caught Punch, Nine, and Slick talking about this on the weekend. I couldn't join because I was traveling, but what I did also catch was Norman Jr.'s manager that came on one of the YouTube channels, and I can't remember which one it was, but basically just follow me here. So the original offer was 1.5 million. Right
That's
now,
correct.
out of that 1.5, there was 20% to cross the road. There was 10% for the coach. There was 10%.
25% to cross the street.
Well, okay. 20, 25, but just follow me anyway. 20% to cross the road. This was out of the manager's mouth. 10% for the coach, 10% management fee, and 2 times sanction and body fees at 3%. So my math says that that's 46%. So at 1.5 minus the 46%, that was $810,000. All right.
Right.
Now, in the same conversation, the manager's saying, hey, look, we were close, right? What we were really hoping for was to walk away with somewhere between 1.2 and 1.5. So if we start at the 1.2 rather than the 1.5 walk away, that's actually an extra $750,000. That's 2.25, a little bit under, right? So 2.25 minus your 46% gives you around about 1.2 mil walk away.
Right.
You don't get it twisted here. They're both world title owners. So there's a rematch. So it's actually not about one fight. It's about 2 fights from a financial point of view.
Right.
Yeah. So they're going to have a rematch, right?
Yeah. I would like to think it'd be a rematch clause in there for Boots.
Probably for Boots, maybe not for Norman Jr.
Yeah.
But they both champions, so I think they both should put them in the contract. I think those should be mandatory.
It's more standard than it's not to have a rematch clause. Now, if we look at either one, whether Brian wins the fight or Boots wins the fight, who's available after? Because if they can't make the fight with Barrios or Stanionis now, there's no reason those fights are going to be more attractive to them after. So who's carrying the financial risk in all of this? Eddie. And it's not 2.2, it's 4.4 or 4.5 million if the actual numbers don't come up. But to your point, you went across the match room because you weren't active, right? So how's Eddie trying to actually play this out for Boots? Because Boots hasn't got arguably the best record so far.
I have a theory.
And he's been emailed. Originally, he was emailed the original champ, the IBF champ, when the IBF stripped Bud after the Spence fight, 5 minutes after Bud won. So play it all out here. I'm walking away from the whole thing after this, like just watching it and just going, you all couldn't have ballsed it up more than you already have. Now, for Norman's team, I'm sure that they were legitimate in what they were asking for, and they thought that was fair. But you shouldn't go public when you're dealing with someone like Eddie Hearn, and you shouldn't be talking numbers because it can blow up in your face. Because the long-term concern is that every other promoter and every other boxer is looking at those numbers and looking straight into the skeletons in your closet and go, shit, if we've got to sit down with these guys, now we've got to foot the expected 46% of fees that they're going to ask for. So, look, I just think there's potentially longer-term damage to your image once you start to go public and it blows up in your face for whatever reason.
Well, he was giving us transparency. He didn't go public with the numbers per se. That was actually Eddie who put the actual numbers out there. He was just being transparent with how many attempts they made and how many counters that they gave. But you're right, it did end up being public. And for somebody who hadn't been in this position, I think you got to think about Brian Norman Sr. and his son. They haven't been in this position before. They haven't dealt with these, top big or these big name promoters under this type of spotlight. And he wants to try and be transparent to keep his son image in the most positive light as possible. So maybe it worked in his favor, maybe it didn't. I think he did enlighten a lot of people who don't know what's going on behind the scenes to see that, hey, 1.7 isn't the kind of money that you think it is. And shout out to Zapata right here in the Zapata, I hope I'm saying that right, brand podcast. He says, what about the taxes? Because that 811,000 or 840,000 we came to, that's even before the actual taxes, right? So again, that the kind of money, because once you make over $1 million, that puts you in a different tax bracket, and them people coming for their money. You ain't no getting around it. Depending on where you live, you're talking anywhere between 30 to 40%. You know what I'm saying? They're coming for that bread. Tim, you said you had a theory.
Yeah, man. My theory is, we all know who Eddie Hearn's real favorite 147 pounder is, bro. And funnily, and very funny, because I was just reading today that he just about to clear that whole steroid shit. So I think Eddie Hearn secretly been wanting Conor Bennett Boots to go at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he's letting all this shit fall through because he secretly wants an in-house fight like that. Because think about it, I'm trying to really think, have Eddie Hearn's ever had a big in-house fight like Conor Bennett Boots would be?
Maybe AJ and one of those other heavyweights.
Like, you know what I mean?
I'm not sure, but with the smaller guys.
Going with this though, Tszyu?
What's that?
We all know his favorite welterweight is Conor Benn, bro. We all know this.
Well, that's the only welterweight he had in the stable for a very long time, and I guess he's just, since.
And who was calling Boots out 2 months ago, Tszyu? Like crazy, before he got into the whole thing. Who was he calling out?
Boots. Yeah.
So like Eddie might be trying to pull some shit like Al Heyman. He been learning from that dirty motherfucker, and he's starting to pull them type of moves, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. Oh, that's DJ with Zapata Pie brand podcast. He said the 800K goes to 425K. Yeah, that's after taxes, bro. That's after taxes. It could easily be, at the 5. I would say maybe the 5. If you got the right accountant, doing the correct legal loophole write-offs and everything that comes with taxes. Oh no, maybe he walks away 500, 600 grand.
I had a cousin a few years back who hit the lottery for 100 bands, bro. How much you think the state took?
Damn near half.
40, nigga.
Yeah.
47 to be exact, bro.
Yeah. So, and see, that's the lottery. You ain't even got too many loopholes you can fuck with.
Nope, not at all.
In this particular situation, because they're a boxer, you could have some type of LLC. You use your home as a write-off, your vehicles, everything that has to do with you training, equipment. It's so many write-offs you can make, as a independent entity to get some of that bread back, and that's if you have a really good accountant that's hooking you up.
I have a great accountant.
You feel me? Yeah. So absolutely, man. With this whole situation, I'm gonna move kind of fast tonight too, guys, because I got about an hour. And like I say, for everybody who's here, make sure you're smashing that like button. I was able to move some things around. I'm going to be free on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and I'm gonna try and do a Saturday night show. I'm gonna ramp this thing up. Ain't no use of me paying StreamYard $25 a month and I ain't using this motherfucker. So and I thank you guys for joining us. Moving on, Bud Crawford, Sebastian Fundor. The rumors are out. I'm not sure if DJ has heard about what's going on, or you as well, Punch Drunk. The talk around the water cooler is now Bud potentially getting the Fundora fight, and it's interesting because if you guys can remember, right after the fight, Fundora. Hold up.
Bud and Canelo. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but there's another stupid ass one that people was actually believing.
Okay, we're gonna get to it. Right after the Fundora Tszyu fight, Fundora said, "Hey, I want to fight Bud. I don't mind fighting Spence. I would love to fight Spence, but ultimately he wanted to fight Bud." Right? If you guys can remember that. And real quick, let me see. I got DLH3. Gonna bring him on for a quick question. DLH3, welcome to the show, my guy.
Oh wow, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine, man. What's your name and where you from?
Well, my name is Lee, and I'm from Maryland.
Maryland, the DMV. Shout out my DMV brother, man. I'm right across the water in Virginia, man.
Oh, cool beans. Hey, look,
No
I love
doubt.
your show. I love your show. I love your setup. I love how you break things down. So
Appreciate it.
kind of a long time listener. I just wanted to, just take my shot and chime in a little bit.
Absolutely, man. Give us your best shot. What you got?
Okay, so give me a couple maybe 90 seconds to cook on something about Bud.
Oh, take the floor. The floor is yours, my brother.
And I got something to say about the Norman thing too, just real quick. So
okay.
Here's the thing about Bud. See, I'm kind of an old school boxing fan. I go back to like the 70s and stuff with that. And my favorite, there's only two fighters I've ever seen that I would give a PhD status. And when I say PhD status, I mean that these two guys can do it all. They can fight front foot, back foot, switch it, power, box. They can just do it all, just depending on the opponent.
Right.
And the only other fighter I've seen, Bud has that PhD, and Hagler has that PhD.
I can dig it.
And Hagler was my all-time favorite fighter. So people really, the thing that really frustrates me about the Bud situation is, he's a black fighter. And this is a guy that's well-spoken, is a family man that built a boxing gym for his community. So young guys, his community won't hang out on the streets and come in. I mean, I don't understand why we can't support and just cherish this guy for being so dedicated to his craft, to give us the best performances possible, and just to be a student of the game. But you listen to all these boxing shows, these guys take some perverse pleasure in just tearing this man down at every layer. And it's the black people that do this to him. I don't hear Canelo people doing that to him. I don't hear all these other people doing that to their fighters, but we have the pound for pound #1 fighter in the world. And all we do is consistently tear this man down. And it really, really deeply troubles me. And the thing that if Bud ever hears what I'm saying, I want you to understand something, Bud. There are people out here who do respect the dedication and hard work you put into your craft. We are in awe of your talent, and we thank you for the work you've done in your community and raising your family. So don't let these haters out here get in your head and you feel like you have to prove yourself to them. You've done
Hey, bro,
everything.
hey, punch goes 10 toes down for Bud Crawford over here. I stand 100% with you, bro.
So it's just I'm just saddened by it all, because I hate the fact that we got to watch this guy leave before people start giving him his flowers. We need to respect the fact that what we're seeing is something we have never seen before. Just about. Now, I want to say one thing real quick on that. Think about how good this guy is. See, even my favorite fighter, Hagler, never did this. He fought his biggest fight, Bud Crawford, with his offhand and dominated another pound for pound guy. Whoever heard of somebody fighting with their offhand and dominating another pound for pound fighter? I've never seen that before. That's how many levels this guy is in terms of PhD level, what this guy can do. So now the thing I would say about the Norman thing is, look, Senior had a really good point. If you go back to school and you get your master's or PhD in something, but you are only making, say, $25 an hour, but now you're qualified now with the extra training and everything, you should be making what a market rate person makes. Okay? Miss me with that nonsense about, well, you was only making 25, so I'm offering you 75. That's more than you've ever made, but I should be making 100 based on the market rate. And when I hear all this nonsense about Eddie Hearn and this and that, the other, I want you to think about this. Eddie Hearn is a promoter. His job is to sell the fight. How can you not sell a unification bout with two young black undefeated fighters in two major markets like Philadelphia and Atlanta? You should be able to get tons of people even wanting to go to Vegas to put together to do that. You can have Brian Norman can have a sparring event where he welcomes the Atlanta fans, and Boots have his sparring event where he welcomes Philadelphia fans. And how can a promoter not sell something like that?
Well, in Eddie's defense, a little bit, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Brian Norman Jr. is relatively unknown. His father has admitted himself that they do not receive the kind of support he believes they should in Atlanta, in their own hometown of Atlanta. So, to say that this is a massive fight, as far as money wise, I think is a bit of a stretch.
Well,
right.
Here's what I would say. I'm not saying initially, but I'm saying if you look at it from a promoter's perspective, like a business person trying to sell a brand.
Right.
I've got 2 undefeated welterweights. The welterweights back in my day was the glamour division. It was a glamour division. 147 was where everything was. Ray Leonard, Hearns, those dudes, Benitez, the division itself is a glamour division, just like the heavyweight is a glamour division.
All right.
So that's my point. I mean, just thank you so much. Like I said, keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Absolutely, man.
Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thank you for joining us, man. Did you have a question for us before you get out of here?
No, I just, like I said, I wanted to give you your flowers, basically, just let you know you just keep up the good work,
No doubt.
And guys on the panel, just thank you guys for I learned from listening to people. So just thank you so much.
No doubt, man. I appreciate you too, man. Lee, thanks for joining us and watching, man. And make sure you come back, man. Spin the block, rock with me.
All right, thank you so much,
my man. Absolutely. Lee, out of Maryland, the DMV. What you say, Punch?
To the DMV, bro.
Yeah, no doubt.
I was gonna say, bro, I don't think he really knows what's going on when it comes down to fighters like Terrence Crawford, Devin Haney, and some fighters on what's called. I know you know about this, TOD. You might not know about this, but the coincidental list. I mean, they got them 2 lists. There's the hope list and there's the coincidental list, bro. And people like Canelo Alvarez and Vasily Lomachenko, those guys are on the hope list. But people like Terrence Crawford, Devin Haney, even Gervonta Davis are on something called the coincidental list. And that's, the media don't really give them the credit that they deserve. So that's why, that's one of the reasons why,
Absolutely. And listen, man, if you ain't got a gang of haters, you ain't doing something right. All right. Look at Floyd. Look at all of the greats. All of the greats, man. They got you can fill up a stadium with the haters, man. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the people that appreciate Bud for what he's done, I think he feels it. But you're gonna feel the hate too because you're great. Greatness is gonna attract hate. That shit comes hand in hand. You know what I mean? Bottom line.
Well, the bulk of us were unanimous leading into the Madrimov fight. There was a few questions as why he's picked Madrimov, but here and with Slick, unanimously, we just said, well, we don't really care. We just want to see Bud back in the ring, before he retires. So,
right.
We just waiting for the next one now.
Yeah. That's it. All right, so I was cooking a little bit on the Bud Fundora situation. Now, Punch, give me what you heard on Bud and Fundora. You heard anything?
I've heard that it's going. He has 2 weeks to make a decision. They got to make a decision on a purse amount, or it's going to the purse bid. So that means that Errol Spence ain't jumping no motherfucking line, and if we don't do the purse bid, he has to vacate, and they're going to elevate Terrence Crawford.
Okay, because I think DJ got more to put on that. Real quick, let me holler at my boy.
But I've also heard something dumb, like it's not true though, but it's really flowing all over Twitter. Terrence Crawford is about to vacate the 154 title to move up to 68 to fight Canelo Alvarez. I'm like, why would he vacate when we all know he's about to get upgraded to WBO status? Like, what are you talking about, man? He's about to be unified. Why would he do that? It makes no sense. But this shit is actually like, people are believing it. Like, so I just wanted to say, anybody who read that and believed that, that's bullshit. Don't believe that shit at all. What we're talking about with Fundora and Crawford, that's really going to happen. But as far as some vacating,
that's way more believable right now. Yeah. And I know, hold up, DJ, I know you got more to say on that situation. Real quick, shout out my guy, Mike Saunders. First of all, let me say this. Mike, thank you for rocking out with your boy for so damn long. I can't even Long-time follower of the channel, man. I appreciate you. He says, we're talking about taxes now, shaking my head. Benavidez was willing to take a flat fee of $5 million just for the opportunity to fight Canelo. 1.7 for a non-household name is more than enough money. And that's exactly how I said a lot of people feel. I can't be mad at you for feeling like that. But I can be mad at Eddie Hearn for not ponying up the other 500,000 to get it done. That's how I feel. You know what I mean? You told Boosh if he signs, you're going to make the fights. He told you he wants to become undisputed, and you failed to deliver the one guy, Brian Norman Jr., who we all believe was ready to jump in that ring. He just needed 500,000 more. DJ, Bud and Fundora, what you got? What news have you heard about this? Because we was talking earlier, and you sound like that fight's happening.
Well, I don't know whether it's going to happen. I want to put this in context, right?
Okay.
What interests me there is that Bud got such an easy, or potentially gets an easy crack at the PBC stable, right, in Fondora. Now, Bud reserves the right to move however he wants to move. I'm not even sure at this stage what his goal is. Is it unifying at 54? Is it unifying or the best bags available or Canelo? Listen, I'll be honest with you both. I'm not buying into any conversations about Bud and Canelo until a contract's signed. You can float that around all you want. See it, not see it, whatever it is. Interestingly, though, it's probably what's happening behind the scenes, as I spoke to you about, Tszyu, is you go, well, history says that, and I want to stitch the dots together here, that Tszyu apparently signs a 3-fight deal. Well, previous to that, he had a one remaining fight with PBC. Now, Erickson Lubin didn't want the fight with Tszyu for the WBO strap, and Mendoza came to Australia for that. Then Erickson Lubin didn't want the second go at the WBO strap earlier this year, and in the background he's been fighting eliminators and those sorts of things. So if Tim wins next month, and I still say if, right, it's not a done deal, but if he wins that, that's the second time now PBC have put their stable against Tim's title, and Tim's taken all the risk. So earlier rumours said it was going to be Lubin, then Fondora for the rematch, but PBC wouldn't give Tim a shot at Fondora when he had the belts for the rematch. Now, if he does fight Bud, and let's take statistics there, it's more than likely Bud beats him. Fondora doesn't have a strap, and then he gets a second crack at Tim's title. And I'm just looking at it and going, well, how do you stitch all of this together, right, for PBC to either hold a strap, because basically they've only got their hands on one if Fondora and Spence don't happen, and that's the WBC, because Bud's got what? The WBA and the interim WBO. Is that
That's
correct?
correct.
So if Bud gets Fondora's, PBC don't have any leverage in the 54 division against Terrence, but they're looking then to challenge for the only other PBC fighter, which under Tszyu for the IBF. So I'm just looking at it and going, well, how many straps has Tim got to win on his own for PBC stable to go and challenge him for his title, but they're not giving him the title shot? And what's the likelihood that if Fondora and Bud fall through, right?
Well, you say
Bud
they're not giving him the title shot. You mean in Tszyu? Not giving Tszyu the title shot?
Correct.
So
the way it's rumored to fall out. So I'm just looking at it and just going, well, what are PBC doing over there? They're most surprisingly giving Bud an opportunity to go and steal one of their belts, or not steal it, earn it. And then they've got no leverage at all in that 54 division, and they're just going to have everyone fight Tszyu.
Well, it's coming down to the money now, DJ, because people denied it. People tried to turn a blind eye to it, and now it's no getting around it. Bud is best buddies with this trillionaire dude named Turkey Al Sheik, and the PBC ain't going. In my opinion, it's not. I think the landscape's changing, or the situation's changing, is because now Al's more inclined to do business with Bud because of that bankroll. This is something that he's not going to have to, pony up the coin for all by himself, right? So that looks a little bit more appealing for Al Heyman and the PBC to get help with that fight. And also, I think with Fundora initially saying that he'd rather fight Bud is another reason why that situation could happen. And then we're talking about your boy Lubin, that situation, because I'm hearing now around the water cooler that Lubin potentially fights Earl Spence. But I understand what you're saying about Tszyu having to go across the street, win the title, and then turn around and face the PBC gauntlet, right?
Swear to God.
Yeah, he has to be the lion, the dog to go out there, grab the scrap, and come back and defend it against all of his brothers at home in the PBC. Which it kind of sucks, but for somebody like Tszyu, whom again is going to be the very first, for those of you who don't know, smash that like button too while you're in here. For those of you who don't know, will be PBC, Amazon Prime PBC first free fight on the Amazon Prime app. That's going to be October the 19th. Tszyu versus the IBF champ Bakram Murtatalov. But unfair to say the least, DJ, if you wanted to elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, look, I've got a question for Punch, but look, just on paper, right, PBC wouldn't give Tim a shot at Mel Charlo, right? Couldn't.
I'm going to say couldn't.
Well, okay. Well, particularly when the Canelo bag came about, but there was a lot of stuff that went on well before that.
Right.
They wouldn't give Tim a shot at rematch after he saved their very first card on Amazon Prime in April. So they wouldn't give him a shot back at Fundora. Now they're supporting him having a shot at the IBF, and should he win that, they're just stacking up everyone behind him to say, well, now we'll just do everything in-house, and you're the one that's going to carry the risk for your title. Now, Punch, over to you for a minute. Has Bud responded at all? Is he even interested in fighting Fundora for, I would say, probably isn't going to generate, Bud's probably going to generate the, the 80% of that viewership. Is that big enough for him just for the WBC strap?
From what I've been saying, I think he was more excited to fight Virgil just to stop that sham. But after the performance he put on, we all know Bud will cook his ass. Do he want to fight Fundora? Yeah, I think he'll fight anybody. But is it profitable? I don't know. Fundora got a nice little fan base, man. I think it's profitable, but I think he'll get cooked in the same way. I think Fundora still needs a few more fights, but you happen to be the WBC champion, WBO champion, and Bud wants to unify. Like I agree with what you said earlier. What is his plan, man? Are you going to be undisputed at 54? I mean, what are we doing here? Like, are you going to fight Canelo? Like, I don't think that fight's going to happen either. Like, I'm tired of talking about that one. But like, it looked like he definitely gonna be undisputed. But as far as drawing power, I don't know. It's gonna definitely be 80% Bud, but you let a nigga like RC tell you, nigga, Bud ain't got no drawing power. So I guess we'll wait and see, because it looked like this fight is possibly gonna happen. But I don't think his managers want this fight. I don't think it's Fundora. I think Fundora will fight anybody, but I think his managers are like, hell no. So
they want to milk that title. That's for damn.
Yeah,
so
like
real
damn,
quick,
my
guys.
Against Terrence Crawford, that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah, just like Brian Norman first title defense would be against Boots. All right, hold on real quick. Let me acknowledge my guy AI Money in the chat. He most definitely wants that money drop. I gotta give it to him.
Money, 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 money,
Money, money,
money, money, money, money, money. Just enough.
just enough
For the city.
for the goddamn city. Also, my guy Mark Nash TV. Shout out my guy Mark Nash TV. For sure, man. Make sure you guys check out my guy Mark Nash TV on YouTube. Talks about a little bit of everything. He says, please match my donation to support the show. For sure, man. If you haven't supported the show, show your love one time. Give him that money drop.
Money, 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 money.
Just enough for the city. It's enough for the city, man. Thank you. Far too kind, guys. All right, man. Moving along again, man. When we get on these lives, man, I be wanting to sit up here forever, but time is limited today. All right, so real quick, I gotta ask you guys: Bud Crawford, Fundora makes the most sense for y'all next? Start with you, DJ.
Well, the reality is I like that better than a Fundora Spence, because I don't think that Spence deserves a title shot, jumping a division with no belts. So, Bud Fundora, and look, Fundora can't sit there forever and not defend his title. And the reality is that, like it or lump it, Bud's the top dog at 54. So you can only avoid it for so long. And I think that would just annoy all of us if that continued to be marinated and avoided while PBC stable play their own in-house games, or in-house fights, I should say. So I don't see any other fight being more applicable to Bud other than a fight for a belt.
Yeah, I can dig it. Punch?
I mean, Virgil dropped the ball. You know what I mean? I really want that Charlo fight bad. That's who I want, real bad. But Fundora seemed to make the most sense now till Charlo can get back, in shape and shit. But that's the fight I want so bad from El Charlo or Tim Tszyu. I want them to.
And I'm a stickler for holding these guys to what they saying. Bud said straight up, he wants to unify and become undisputed at 54 and chase the big fights, the big money fights. That was the goal. The goal of Bud Crawford, out of his own mouth, was to become undisputed at 154 pounds. So to me, you target all of the belt holders. Fundora just makes the most sense. And if, Fundora doesn't fight him, he gets elevated with the WBO, and then that's a whole situation. But I think this news is leaking for a reason. Does Bud and Fundora make the most sense? Maybe. I don't see it being the biggest lucrative fight. I felt like PBC was trying to position Errol Spence to get that belt by somehow, some way. And
that's
then
really
you
the
get
most lucrative fight. The rematch would definitely do.
Yeah, that to me would be the most lucrative, right? I don't think anybody would be opposed to seeing Bud fight Spence at 54 and answer a lot of those questions that the Spence fans had. And for me,
what do every Spence fan say, including Chappelle? What they all say? Fight him at 54. They
exactly.
That is on. Just come on, just squash that myth, please.
Exactly.
Definitely make most money.
I don't need to see it unless Spence comes back at 54 and looks brilliant. If he does against someone else, I don't want to see a Bud Spence rematch. Some fights don't deserve a rematch. It was a hiding to nothing. Why do we got to see it again?
Hey,
and
we know that. It's the Spence. They're the ones that delusional and shit. We know. We already know. It's gonna be way worse.
At least at
it's
47,
not what you
Spence
know.
was at.
It's what you can prove.
It's not
Spence
what you know.
was bringing belts and titles to the ring. Now he won't bring any belts or titles to the ring and sign up for what? Another ass whooping?
Right.
I don't need to see that. But the real question remains is that if Bud unifies at 54 with the current belt holders, is there anyone left at 54 that the fans want to see to absolutely crown him without question? You fought the best at 54 and you're now unified. Because I reckon Mel Charlo's a bigger fight than Spence fight.
That's hard, DJ.
Yeah,
I just
those Spence fans are loyal, bro.
Yeah, Errol Spence just has a fan base, like, you know, because you got to understand, Errol Spence had already been doing pay-per-views. Jermell Charlo wasn't headlining any pay-per-views. Spence was, and they were actually, you know, selling enough to where they continuously put Spence fights on pay-per-view.
If I'm not mistaken, right, Tszyu, wasn't Canelo Charlo's first pay-per-view?
Yes, it was his first and his only headline pay-per-view.
Yeah, Spence Crawford was Errol's like 6th straight pay-per-view, bro. He was
shit like that. So that Spence fan base is big, and again, for Terrence Crawford, it's about the paydays, right? Dude's about to be 37 this month, I believe it is. You know, all eyes are on retirement, man. Bud's not gonna be here for long.
Think he won't cook Spence again for another 25? Hell yeah.
Of course he would, right? To me, not so much for legacy, but for the paydays that he says that he wants, that fight makes sense. Now, for the legacy, the Fundora fight makes sense. And all roads leads to Tszyu, which is a great segue to our last topic before I get up out of here. Tszyu, again, out of nowhere, gets the IBF champion, Bakram Murtazaliev, October the 19th in Orlando, Florida. That is official. That just came out today. We've been hearing about it and figuring it was going to happen. But today you're going to start seeing the posters and all of the everything that comes along with this being official. That news came out today. Tim's back in the ring October the 19th. Now, for Tszyu, getting his Murtazaliev fight, which I believe, I'm just going to keep it a buck. I think he beats Murtazaliev, especially looking at the Cole K fight. I think if Tim is given the opportunity to land some of those same shots, it could be a short night. The dude does have dynamite in both hands. Maybe he has the power to keep Tim honest. I'll let you guys give your assessment. But this puts Tim right back in the driver's seat if he can secure this title. So the question for you guys is, if Tim can get past Murtazaliev, what should be next? And what are your hopes for Tszyu moving forward at 54? As Tim puts it, he's still the man. DJ, from down under.
Look, I don't know. I call this replacement therapy. If he couldn't get the rematch with Fundora to try and win his belt back, this is just replacement therapy, and he gets another opportunity to win a belt. I don't think it's going to be as easy as people think. I don't think that Tim's going to walk in there and just wash the bloke. He's probably the biggest that I can remember anyway. It'll be the biggest 154 fighter that Tim's fought at this level. My only, and I'll just reiterate what I said a couple of weeks ago, I wouldn't mind seeing Tim fight a couple more southpaws if there is any possibility in the future to get in the ring with Bud. I think go and see as many southpaws as you can, good ones, just to give you some different looks at what Bud might bring if he switches on him.
Absolutely. I can dig it. Punch?
Bro, all right, so I'm gonna say this, man. Like Tszyu better not go in here playing around with this dude, or we gonna have another Jared Anderson Bercoli situation, nigga. That dude Bakram hit hard, nigga. And he got that same style to remind me of your boy Boacek, and Boacek is a problem. So I need Tszyu to win this fight and put that motherfucking shirt back on, nigga. Put it back on. Yeah, put this shirt back on with Terrence's name crossed out, nigga, so you can call him out next and he come and take your belt, nigga. Yup. After Bakram, I want Crawford Tszyu next.
Yeah. And for me, before all of this new blood, before Bud came up and Spence came up, and now even I really truly believe Boots is coming up. this division was shaping up to be ruled and reigned over by Tszyu. And maybe I'm crazy for saying that, but that's just how it looked like it was shaping up to me. I felt like Jermell Charlo was scared to fight him. That fight never transpired. And two, and Tim was just knocking the rest of these motherfuckers around. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't pick a definitive person that I could say was going to get in there and beat Tszyu. And I know I'm talking like he didn't lose to Fundora, but let's keep it a buck. You know, if it wasn't for the freak accident, he already had that boy nose broke, and I just thought it was a matter of time. So if Tim's back in the driver's seat after he, in my opinion, beats Murtazaev, sky's the limit. And it could be a huge undisputed matchup between him and Bud Crawford. That's the future I see. Am I crazy?
No, that's the ultimate goal, right?
I think that Tim needs more than just this fight, just to build his brand a little bit in the States prior to a Bud unification. Oh, look, I'm all for it. The unification, throw them in there. If boys want to fight, let them fight. They're in the fight game. You know, it's interesting, and I've got a question for both of you after we're finished on the Tszyu topic, but I just don't understand what purpose the next two fights serve if it's not a immediate unification with Bud, because Bud's not going to wait forever. You said it yourself a minute ago, Tszyu. He's
time sensitive.
He's on a timeline. I don't know what that timeline looks like. 12 months, 2 years, who knows?
If he actually gets this Fundora fight and he wins, that makes him a 3-belt holder. Tszyu's on the hit list, and you know, yeah, it will just be a matter of time. Listen, that could actually happen next, because that's what we're talking about. So we're talking about a timeline of maybe 6 fucking months. We could be out from this massive unification, but maybe, depending on how that fight go, becoming undisputed and walking away from the game, period. So this is very much a reality and very much a scenario that could happen really, really, really soon.
Yeah, and 3-time disputed, that bring him in the GOAT talk, like GOAT. Like, so,
well, he might already be in that discussion, Punch. But interestingly, I'm a little bit disappointed they waited so long to formally announce the fight. Like, we're 6 weeks out from that date. That really doesn't support a great deal of time to build the fight and advertise and promote it. And I don't understand why they can't lock some of these fights away a lot earlier so that you can build it. And really get the fans interested in it, because now you're just relying on people to read it, see it, and hopefully they're fans and they'll watch it.
I can agree to an extent, for sure. I think 54 is so hot though right now, bro. To me, 54 is maybe the hottest division in boxing. Maybe I'm tripping. Of course, you got a lot of eyes on Canelo at 68, but who else is left at 68 that you really want to see Canelo fight? You know, besides Benavidez coming from back down to 68.
Well, I want to see Janabek go to 168 and fight Canelo. I would love that fight.
I ain't mad at that fight neither. Now that's the type of fight where you need help to sell that to the fans, because there's a lot of people who still have no fucking clue who Janabek is. You know,
come on, that's no different than trying to sell.
Berlanga is.
Yeah, exactly, Punch. I was about to say exactly the same thing, but
yeah,
look, 140 has potential. 140, if they start, if they try to start unifying there's some great fights there. So people trying to jump up to 147, and then there's discussions about Haney and Paro and all sorts of things happening there. 140 is a really interesting division if they get it right. But like you said, Tszyu, 154 can just turn to shit if they don't actually get the matchups right. Because there's every chance, and I'll be honest, as much as I'm an Aussie, if Tszyu goes to unify and gets beat by Bud, when, whatever language you want to use, I think that Tim struggles to actually get his career back on track until such time that Bud moves out of 154. So, and I've got a question for you all because I know you got to go, Tszyu. Where do you rate Danny Garcia if he beats Lara?
Yeah.
Will that be his 4th or 5th division championship?
What Danny started? Danny started at 30?
He started at 40, I think.
No.
Wasn't
He
that?
was fighting little Eric Morales and
He
shit.
never won that. Did he? He never won that 47, did he? Did he win the title at 47? So he's a 2-division
At
champ.
47?
He ain't win shit
Who
at
did
54.
Danny beat? Yeah, I think he had a title at 47, if I'm
He did.
not
Who he beat?
mistaken.
So Sean Porter took his belt then? Who took his belt? Thurman or
Or
Porter?
did they fight for a vacant? Man, it's been so many moons
All right,
ago. I
so
can't
Thurman
remember.
took his belt then. Yeah, he did have a belt at 47.
What was the question? You said where do I rank Danny if he beats Laura?
I
Yeah,
don't think
we'll
he's gonna
say
beat Laura.
that's. Well, I'm just saying if he does, right?
Yeah.
Coming off like 2 straight losses.
Who?
Yeah.
Garcia.
Nah, he just beat
he beat
Jose Benavidez Jr. in his last
He
fight.
lost the fight before that. Was that Spence before him?
It might have been.
He lost
That's
the
the
fight
last loss I think he had. He might have won twice since then.
He lost the fight before Spence too.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got a few losses. He's got like 3 losses.
Right? So he's like 1-3 in his last 4 fights.
I guess we just.
I don't know about that. Let me see.
I'm pretty sure, Tszyu.
Okay, I'm just checking. Let me check it out. We
I used
make
to
sure.
follow Danny Garcia, bro. He been losing.
He been so inactive, man. I can't fucking remember.
So look, I'm just putting it out there because plenty of other fighters, particularly when we talk about it, you start talking about how many divisions they've actually won and world champions and how good they are.
I think it's 2 for him.
I reckon he'll go at least 4 off the top
He's
of
a
my head.
3-division champion. I thought he only won that 40 and 47.
So he's only fought twice in the last fucking 4 years. He lost in 2020 to Errol Spence, and then he beat Jose Benavidez in 2022.
All right, so he don't fight very inactive. He's Keith Thurman inactive.
Yeah.
And just while you're looking that up to Mike, I agree with you there when Charlo was undisputed, but didn't Bud wash his hands of Charlo once he walked out of the ring with Canelo and said, "No, I don't want to fight him after that performance"? And then Bernie the boxer and everyone come in months after and said, "No, we're moving to 154 to Unify." Because Mel's been losing belts after belts after belts because he's not been fighting. So
he said he coming back, so we'll see. They put up a video of him training, Spence training, so they all look like they try and get back in shape.
Yeah. Throw him in there with Madrimov, Boachuk, or even Virgil.
Actually, I've been hearing that they're about to fight. Actually, Madrimov and Boachuk.
Well, they deserve a fight. I mean, they put on really good performances.
They
surprised me. So
it makes sense to me. I like the style matchup. Let's see if Madrimov be bouncing around like that. That shit was annoying as hell.
Oh, you're suggesting they're going to fight each other?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so it looked like he won titles at 140 and 147.
So that's what I figured. 2-division champion.
Yeah.
He started at 140, right? Not 130.
135. He started at 135, moved to 40 kind of quickly.
All right. I'm surprised he didn't get no belt at 35 as hard as he was hitting.
Yeah.
His power didn't translate to 47. That was Danny's problem. Remember, we noticed that real quick.
But to answer the question, if he beats Laura, I think that's another big feather in his cap, man, because, then he becomes another world champion. That'll be a 3-division world champion. He'd done it at 36 years old, even though Laura's like 41 maybe now.
41.
But Laura's still fucking people up. So
that slick ass style is weird.
Yeah, you can't discredit Danny because Laura's still a champion at 41. DJ, to answer your question, man, I mean, you got to give him his credit. You got to.
Where would you put him out of the top 3 at 160? Would he make the top 3 with this win?
At 160, the current 160?
Yeah. Even though we know Jamal Charlo was the best at 160. Let's just keep it 100.
Yeah, I can give him top 3. I mean, he'd be a champion, you know. I'm all for giving cats they credit, man. If you can beat Laura, especially given how Laura looked in his last couple fights, and I think his last fight he got Buddy out of there in like what, the 3rd round, maybe some shit like that.
Quick.
We agreed. Hang on, Tszyu. We agreed to never speak of that fight again.
Okay, my bad. So Laura still looks decent, man. So yeah, I would, if he could become champion, I'd put him up there in top 3, top 4 for sure.
I agree. I would say top 3, top 4. I ain't gonna say number 1 because even though dude got a lot of mental shit going on, Jamal Charlo's the best in that division.
Absolutely, I would have to give Charlo his credit about that as well, for sure.
Punch, we're gonna have that discussion at a later date.
I like Maul. It's Mel I don't like. I can't stand Jamal Charlo, but Jamal Charlo, he's nice. He's always been way better than Jamal.
Word. All right, man. Chat, thanks for rocking with us, man. If anybody got any more questions, hurry up, put them in the chat. DJ Punch, you got anything you want to talk about before we get out of here?
I'll just feel good to be on the lab with you, my nigga. Finally.
Thanks, man. And like I say, man, I've been able to move some things around. So Tuesdays, even Wednesdays, and Saturdays, I promise you, I'm gonna be going live between one of them motherfuckers. So, all right.
Coming up, just put it in the group chat so I can hop on, yo. I'll probably be around.
For sure.
If you boys aren't doing anything and you remember, Premier Boxing Series. That's an Australian boxing channel. The app's for free. Alex Winwood is a young up and comer over here, and he's fighting for the WBA minimum weight this weekend over in Mark Wynn's backyard.
Minimum weight.
Minimum
like
weight.
102 pounds.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'll check him out.
What are you giggling at?
Little guy.
Yeah. This is the first time anybody's ever told me to watch out for the minimum weight guy. I promise I'm gonna check him out.
I'm not saying he's going to be the next superstar, but that app will give you access. That app will give you access to.
And give us the name of the app one more time.
Premier Boxing Series.
Okay.
Anyway,
look.
Anyway,
can't
fight
sleep one night.
Morning. Ain't nobody gonna be woke for that fight. I ain't waking up for that shit.
Oh no.
4 in the morning.
But,
the time.
I guess what I'm doing is just putting the name. I'm just planting the seed, the name,
and the name's Alex Winward.
Yeah, just like you boys did for Tiger Johnson and Abdullah Mason.
Oh yeah.
There's a bit of hype around this little fella, Tszyu.
Okay, no doubt.
I never watched a 102-pounder fight. I'm excited. Let me see how they get down.
Yeah.
I'd expect they'll have some speed, Punch. If you can't have speed at that weight, you've got nothing.
You better not be slow at 102 pounds. I'm turning
couple of midgets, baby. Couple of midgets.
In a way, just smashed bloody Sam Goodman's leftovers overnight.
Mm-hmm. He sure did.
Who's he getting next?
Probably a little worse than Sam.
I ain't even watched that. That was like 4 in the morning. I'm like, you're right, man. I'm just gonna watch.
Just caught the highlights.
Fucking whoever this is out. I didn't even know who that dude was. They fighting nobody. How you talking about this nigga number 1? Don't get me started on anyway, bro.
Okay. All right, DJ, you got some shout outs, man?
Shout out to the chat, the subscribers, the memberships.
Fuck y'all. Y'all should have been here, nigga.
That's my fault. I didn't put it in the chat.
I would suggest to the chat that if you come and do the money drop, be prepared for Tszyu to sing a little tune.
No doubt.
Shout out Punch and Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Thank you, man. My brother. Punch Drunk, give it to him.
Oh yeah, shout out to my homies. You know what I mean? I'll definitely be on for the next one, bro, for sure. And I'm taking the fucking underscore out of my name. It's just Punch Drunk 412 now. Fuck the underscore shit.
Okay. Okay, word. My guys, my usual suspects. What you say, DJ?
And for everyone listening, it's a punch with a C. Don't get it twisted.
Don't get that shit
Right.
twisted.
There you go. The real punch drunk, right? All right, my two usual suspects. Hold on, let me do that again. My shit ain't right. My two usual suspects, punch drunk, DJ. Truly appreciate you guys. Mark Nash TV, Our Money, Mike Saunders, the Zapata Podcast, Project Podcast, or the Brand Podcast. I'm sorry, my brother. Mark Wynn, my other Aussie family. Thank you guys, man. Truly a blessing, man. Big Tszyu, Heavy Bag. We out of here, man.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Y'all make sure you go sub to my man Heavy Bag Boxing, man.
Get your dumb ass in and hit this bag.
The Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Y'all just go ahead and subscribe to Heavy Bag Boxing TV because he be lit on his channel.
And Heavy Bag Boxing.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Yo, shout out to Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
Heavy Bag Boxing TV. That's my little bro.
Punch Drunk 412 in the building. Shout out to my guy Tszyu, Heavy Bag Boxing TV. Get your bitch ass in here and hit this bag.
Heavy Bag Boxing, all right? You heard it from me. You heard it here first.
Heavy Bags Boxing. Straight out of Norfolk, baby. Let's go.
What's up, y'all? Shout out to Heavy Bag Boxing TV.
You are tuned in to Heavy Bag Boxing. Get your and hit this bag, dude.
Shout out to Heavy Bag Boxing. It's the one and only Blazer Flair. Woo!
Yo, what's up? It's your boy Tszyu, Super Judas, sound champion world. I'm giving a big shout out to my home team, Heavy Bag TV. You heard? TV Live.
This is Showtime Sean Porter. You are watching Heavy Bag Boxing.